So let's get into this first episode. It starts off in the darkness with Genius Jizza. He's in the darkness. The power went out because it's like he's in the middle of a storm in the darkness, which is where we go to go within, find ourselves, reconnect, reground. So that's how the episode starts off, okay? And then when Vine walks in, he's like, "You alone?" He's like, "No, I'm not alone." And he put up the music he was listening to, but it's symbolic of your people. It's symbolic of energy, because music is energy. Vine comes in to remind him, "Look, we got this deadline on this album, we got to get it out." And he's like, "No, it ain't right yet." You know, he feeling the pressure, but he don't feel like it's right yet. He wants it to be perfect. He wants it to represent what he is about. He wanted to represent himself and the whole clan, because he like, "Nah, I got to get the whole fam on there. Like, we go hard when we together," which is strength in numbers, power and energy, all that. Building the team back up, getting that energy back together, getting it back tight, strong. That main one was to assemble the crew back together. I'm going to apply it to real life. We're awakening right now. We're assembling back together. People are waking up here and there. We all have parts of our journey where we get lost and to go astray, but we got to come back together at one point or another, and that's what this is representing. They coming back together. He want that team strong. He want that album to represent, well, he want everybody on that album representing. Storms happen in life. Storms are gonna happen in life. There's gonna be moments where you feel like, "Oh, I'm alone, I'm in the darkness," but that's where you create and come up with your best stuff, okay? That's where you come up with your answers. You come back to the light with your answers and with your direction, because you went within. You listen to that voice within. And yeah, your team helps you get there. You're gonna have, everybody in life has a team, spiritual team and people on your physical team that you can see, touch, hug. Knowledge of self is the goal in the beginning. One team, one band, one sound, okay? Can't nobody fuck with it, all right? So Vine leaves him alone again. He goes back into his space, into his zone, where he's thinking, deep thinking, reflecting, centering, grounding. And he finds himself still in the darkness, and he stumbled across his homeboy, his brother. You know, he in a wheelchair, he's stuck. He like, "Oh, who is this coming?" He got his guard up. But you notice he'll put the headphones on his head to kind of like disarm him, share the word with him, share his knowledge with him, make him know, like, you comfortable with me, you could trust me. That's kind of like what we do all the time. We share our knowledge, we share things we learn with others. They got their guard up. They've been hurt in other ways in other parts of their life. They got their guard up for a reason. But, you know, you let your guard down when you see you could trust somebody else that's coming and sent to help you along. So they team up and they about to get on this journey together now. They go. His common goal too is, "I was on my way to see the abbot." Because you're sharing this knowledge that you've acquired over time and through experiences that's so unique to your journey. Like, you're gonna gain some jewels and you share that with other people. And then they decide whether they want to trust that, hold that, keep that, drop that. That was also symbolic of him putting them headphones on him. So yeah, RZA is a genius. He is a genius for writing this episode. It's like we only 6 minutes in and I had like 3 pages. So I'm kind of just still briefly going over what I picked up from it, and you could write in the comments what you picked up from it too. The title of this episode is Liquid Swords, and swords has an S on it for a reason, because you are not the only one with a sword. All of us have our voice, our power, and we need to use it, you know. I'm just gonna say that the abbot and finding that abbot for me right now is kind of like we could put this in the category of the knowledge of self is the focus and the goal, because that's what everybody was trying to do at the end of the day. But you team up together, you ride together, you go stronger, you go longer. So in this episode, they're using the labels, like the label owners, as the common enemy, because once we lost focus and wanted to be better than one another, they were able to infiltrate the system, which is, you know, our collective, which is our connection, our strength. And when you could get into there and slip and sneak into the cracks, then you are fucking with the foundation and the energy of the whole thing. So it's like we started to crumble because of our own choices. You know, nobody else can come in and fuck with you unless you give that power away. And that's what happened. We gave our power away. Whether they brought these shiny things, these glitters and gold, and it's the same thing they use in real life. We see it with our own eyes. We see a lot of artists like this. I'm not about to name names because I don't have to. You know, we all look at different artists in different ways anyway, because we got different perception. But the label is like the label owners are like the common enemy in this. And it's a scene later in the episode, we're gonna get to that, where it's these big fat greasy slimy motherfuckers sitting at the table. Greed, they represent greed and false control, because, you know, if you ask, in my opinion, these in real life, when I saw the episode, I saw the people that everybody be voting for and think that they have the real power, and they don't, because they have power to change shit and they don't change the things that they should. So that's crumbling before your eyes right now too. It might be going slow in human time, but in divine time it's already done. So anyway, in the episode, they represent that, these fat, greasy, slimy greed monsters, and they're being controlled by these people that are really in power, because they are telling them what to do and they get paid handsomely for it. You know, they have this control over everything and everyone. But don't forget that you have power over yourself. You have to give your power away in order to be controlled. Keep that in your mind. They basically, in short terms, real quick, they are paid and controlled to control you, keep you asleep, keep you stupid, keep you slumped and behind, and not awaken to your power. And you don't just have one awakening. This might be going a little off topic, but you don't just have one awakening. You have multiple awakenings throughout your whole life. You're going to awaken to this and awaken to that. You know, think of awakenings as areas in your life. You might not be awakened when it comes to treating your body better, eating better, but over here, when it comes to loving your others or helping out and getting shit moving and making money or whatever, you might be awakened and advanced in that. It's areas in your life where you're gonna need help because you're not advanced. You're still like a baby. And those areas where we're weak, that's where our teammates come in, because we get that help that we need. Just like in the areas where you're strong, you need to be helping people where in those strong areas for you, your strengths, you need to be helping people where they are weak in that area. Another way she spoke on how, after the scene where he met up and found his brother on the wheelchair, and they kind of introduced the episode over again that was taking place in his mind, in the spirit realm, and however you want to look at it, that's how I see it. She's explaining how they infiltrated the system, our collective, our power, our energy, our source, our center. So they did this, and then they break you down into sections, which you could look at that as like these different religions. Whatever. I'm not religious. I've awakened in that area already. I remember when I awakened from that spell of religion and just following that cult, I literally felt weights lifted off my shoulders when I awakened from that. So that's another story too. But they broke us up into these sections where it's like it's easier to control and manipulate when you break down the foundation, when you break down the building. It's like, okay, now we can deal with this pile over here, this over here, and then you get them to war against each other. And you winning even more, because nobody wins when you fighting the self. When you're fighting the self, nobody is a winner. The people that are controlling that, higher above that, they're winning, because you got the teammates fighting each other. She also was locked up in the booth with homeboy, and they were just on the mic talking, and he, like, you know, he close to her, but he don't know everything, and he don't see what she sees. She see a vision, he got his own visions. He telling her in her ear, like, ain't nobody listening. And I felt this in my core, because she was like, it's always somebody listening. She kept talking on the mic. She kept talking. And then right after that, this personal, but right after that, they was showing the background, and they showed my birth year right up there, 1987. I was like, oh, this is for me. This is for me. That's another thing. You got to know when messages are for you. If you feel it, if it stick with you, even if somebody say something to you and it annoyed you, you got to figure out why did that annoy me? Why was that able to get to me like that? You have to know what's for you and what's not for you. So I knew that that's why I said personal. I knew that was for me because somebody once told me a long time ago, and it stuck with me. You be saying all this stuff and making all these posts, and don't nobody even be liking it. You need to change the topic. I was like, no, that's not true, because I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep speaking what my soul is telling me to share, because that one person is hearing it who needs to hear it. That one person that needed to see it, they saw it. No matter when they see it, it's for a reason. Even if it was for me to see it a year later when Facebook remind you of your memories, even if it was just for me, it was for a reason. I think deep on everything, and it's a reason I'm like that. It's a reason I was born like that. You might be a surface. I remember another day, this girl said, oh, you just so deep, and you go so deep, but she was kind of being salty and sarcastic with it, and at the time, that's how I took it. I'm like, dang, you know. But later on, I grew to learn, like, nigga, if you can't swim, I'm not for you, because I go deep. So it was a compliment, which back then I didn't know, but now I do know. I should have told baby, thank you. I just wasn't looking at it like that. My perception was different. So now that I know who I am, when you know self, can't nobody get up in there and fuck with that foundation. Can't nobody get up in there messing all with your screws and shit unless you let them. You have to give your power away. Remember that. Now, she also mentioned how it was a prophecy of the liquid sword that will come forth and help break everybody free. You know, people don't believe prophecies. A lot of prophecies get called conspiracy theories and shit like that. How many conspiracy theories then came true? People that said certain things like, oh, phones will rule the future. I seen an article that spoke on that from 1953. Phones will, look at that shit now. We all addicted to our phones. However, that's just me being truthful. However, we can use our phones for good things too. Like, we don't just use it just to BS. We can use our phones for connecting to each other and finding our soul family faster than we ever could before too, because we were connected telepathically. Like, all of the electronics and technology just imitates us and how we were, because we didn't have to speak. We spoke with words and made sounds rarely. We communicated telepathically, and it was a strong connection. You know, it's very weak now. You could think of somebody and be like, oh, they call you. Oh, girl, I was just thinking about you and you called me. That's our connection is very weak, and it's getting back strong. Trust me. The Mecca tribe, which, you know, these, I don't know if these are random names that he chose, but I'm pretty sure they're not. I'm pretty sure it's deeper meaning with them, because he's a genius. But that's a God for you. We are geniuses. Tap in. If you don't have a soul, I'm not talking to you. If you don't have a soul, I don't even think you'll find my channel. But anyway, she spoke on how different tribes, you know, we got the poor tribes, since the fatherless child disappeared, because that means a lot. They tore the father from the home, and that changed everything. That was a big hit we took. We took a lot of big hits collectively, and when we lost the fathers from the home, that was a big hit collectively. So the fatherless child, ODB, he plays that character. He represents a big part of a hit we took. And you know, I know that they're restricting it in the episode mostly to the collective within the music and entertainment sense, but this is really collectively on a larger scale, because when you break down certain things, you got to think, when you break down certain things, it's always a bigger collective involved. It's different parts. You could keep going further and further down, and you could keep going higher and higher up. It's gonna be the same thing. It's a wide scale on every level. Hopefully that makes sense. But the Meccas was the rich. You know, some of us are rich, and I use we a lot. When I say we, I mean collectively. The rich, we want to keep the rich rich and keep the poor poor. So that's a division right there. That's hurting us. It don't make sense. It's been hurting us. We see it with our own eyes. That's got to change. That's going to break down. You had the gangs in the episodes that would come together in the name of evil, to work together for evil, but not for good. It's like, you know, come on now. We got to be smarter than that. We're taking on the ways of the enemy that hit us and hurt us. We have to get back to our own shit. Like, we got to be smarter than that. We come together to work together, not come together to help this evil side. Another important part was the reference to when they used the women to seduce them and trick them. I believe his name was Cyrus in the episode, the main enemy, the one that was in control and higher up, because he was there even after those fat, greasy pigs disappeared. It was a scene where they showed them gone from the table, because we're witnessing that too in live action. You're gonna see all this stuff unfold in real life. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You about to see it. You're about to see it if you don't already see it and feel it. They're disappearing. All that stuff is going away. People is about to start questioning, why are we voting for y'all, or why are we trusting you, and you poison us and you mislead us and you lie to us. It's a cycle. When we break the cycle, he mentioned that in the episode, you create new circles. You don't keep doing the same one, the same cycle. And he even did that physically in the dirt that they were standing on. If you paid attention, you will see that. He's like, you create new circles. You don't keep repeating the same one. These lost women, because gods were very powerful, but when we're lost, other entities can use our power against us through us, because we gave our power away. So they clearly gave their power away for whatever it was, whatever they were promised, or whatever they get, you know, whatever they feel like they're being compensated for, to trick these gods and be spies for Cyrus. They did it. And I even think it was something with the way they pulled up to the Mariah Carey song playing. Like, even that for me, I'm like, all right. But anyway, so they pull up and it's just like honey. And then they like, you know, why should we trust you? And the main one, he like, why should we trust you? She like, because women are known to be nice when they feeling nasty, you know, whatever. We using their seductive powers for evil, for wrong. Because you use your powers for wrong, they steal powers. That's just what it is. But anyway, they showed the scene where they riding off with them. They drank the drink. Next, you know, they land on the girl's back, riding off to wherever they about to take them into captivity, and they sleep. That scene where they showed them sleeping was on purpose. That's representing, if you can't see that, I'm just saying it anyway, that's representing our sleep collective. You're controlled, you're easily manipulated, you're easily lied to, you're easily controlled when you're asleep. So it's a scene in the episode where they walk into this bar, they want some food, they like, ain't no food, can't nobody buy or sell food no more, all we got is sake. He like, all right, give me the spicy one. He tasted. He was looking for her dad. She said he was dead. When he tasted, he like, don't nobody make sake like this. Where's your dad at? Like, I used to run with him. Where he at? I just love that scene also because it represents how people with the keys and the knowledge of the soul language, they're gonna just speak that soul language, and you're gonna know who to let in and who not to let in. You're gonna know who to trust and not to trust. That's when you tapped in though. When you're not tapped in and you don't have your third eye vision activated, it's like anybody could trick you and manipulate you and lie to you. When you tapped in, you know, it's like an unspoken language, like that telepathy that we used to communicate with in the first place. You tapped in, you already know what's what. So that was representing that too. Like, she not just about to tell anybody who walk in this bar, yeah, my daddy in the back, what up? You don't work like that. She said, which is another clue that you got to know him to know where that's even at. She said he in his old laboratory. So you got to know, you got to be telling the truth to even know what that means and where that's at in the first place. So I love that. It's like I said, every episode, every scene needs a breakdown, damn it. He said, positive education activates constant elevation. That's powerful to them up. Positive education activates constant elevation. Positive education activates constant elevation. And I can't tell you exactly why, because, you know, in the real world, I like some pop music, but in the show, in the episode, he just so happened to use pop music as the representation of the watered down culture. He used that in the episode. But it's some pop songs I like. So I'm just saying that. But yeah, that's what he used in the episode. It's his piece, it's his art. He wanted to use that for that, and so he did. Which probably that could be how he sees and perceives that as they're coming into existence in the first place. Like, what is pop? I don't know the history and the origins of pop music. You know, her father and Genius, they like, well, he like how you didn't become infected. Some people were too powerful to fall for that and go for that, because you have to give your power away in order for someone to control you. The way they put it, he said, we only listen to the classics, you know, the vinyl and the faint radio transmission. That's what he said. Which is homegirl that was like, you know, it's always somebody listening. It's always somebody listening. He mentioned how his headphones, her father, he mentioned how his headphones were damaged, and it takes a lot to get a signal that represents us and our connection to the divine, to source, to our source energy, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. It's the same connection. It's the same source. We're all created by our creator, and when we're damaged, when we're unhealthy, when we're stressed, when we're depressed, all of these things are happening. Our source, our connection to source is damaged. So that's what he meant by his broken headphones, because, you know, they use the headphones as a way of, you know, the word, the liquid sword. That's how they hear the music, the speech. Soul is connected to all of that, to me. Hopefully that makes sense. When they got together, that signal got stronger, because he putting his little pieces of what he got and his pieces of his, you know, that's energy, representing energy. When you get that together, it's more powerful. Two gods are better than one. Cutthroat women, whirlwind spinning, save the children, escape the poverty that we're living in. It's like she kept repeating that same thing over and over. You know, we hear the message and we receive the message through different ways and different bodies, but it's the same message at the end of the day. And that's why she kept repeating the same thing. And while she up in the booth, you know, doing what she's called to do, spitting this lyric over and over again, trying to reach the people who are tapped in, tuned in, turned on. He on the sideline, like I said, like, ain't nobody listening. She like, it's always somebody listening. So then he like, he just represents a naysayer that's close to you, because they be close to you. He like, well, even if they are listening, are they tuned in? Are they tapped in? So why you speaking in code? Why you don't just say it flat out? Why don't you just say it ABC 1 2 3? She like, no, that's not how you do things. You spread the message the way you supposed to spread it, and say the things you supposed to say, because the person that's supposed to get it is gonna get it. It ain't for everybody. Everybody ain't on the team. You feel me? And she said that. She told him that. But the way she put it, she said if the ministers understand, they could further break shit down and infiltrate further. Like, no, they don't get all the secrets. They got enough of our secrets from stealing them. They not about to get everything else. We already won anyway. He even was saying and telling her, like, we about to run out of time. You know, threatening her on the sideline, trying to rush her. We about to run out of time, and everything we did is gonna be for nothing. That goes back to what I talked about in my last video. If you ain't watch it, go watch it. You feel me? But she was like, no, like, we have to do things in a certain order, and if you believe the prophecy that we received, then it's gonna be what it's gonna be, baby. You rushing me, but you don't know about divine timing. You on human time. That ain't even real. That's a spell. Human time ain't nothing. Divine timing is something else. What's supposed to happen and what's meant to be is gonna happen and be. In the episode, she told him, like, we gonna spread it through the music. So that's what they gonna do. That's what the whole episode is about anyway, spreading the word through the music, because that's what they did. That's what WuTang was. Music. Energy. God energy through the music. The signals being disconnected at key points, and that's when they showed the map on the wall, because those key points are some key points that were tampered with on our actual earth. And yeah, it get deep. He like, who is this coming through on the signal? He like, these lyrics got messages in them. All dope lyrics got messages in them. He was in there still talking to him like, come on, you gotta come out here and help me. And he's comfortable where he at. He's sitting on this knowledge. You know, that represents a lot of us. We sitting on this knowledge, and we got this fear of going out, spreading it, helping, sharing it. But he is here. Genius met up with him on a part of this journey because it's time for you to move. Sometimes it ain't gonna be comfortable to move about your space where you grew so comfy at. He like, me and my daughter, we cool here, we safe here, we good here. This is the familiar, this is the known. But sometimes you gotta get about that familiar, that comfortability, because you can't grow nothing there. You heard how she said, ain't no food up in here, ain't been no food. You want to find some food, you have to move, okay? You got to move. You got to get some knowledge spread out throughout the collective in order to grow, because that's what the universe supports, growth and expansion. And this is a very good point, because this one that drives me. What's the point in being awake when everybody else still sleep? What's the point? He convinced them to join him. You know, now they a 3-man team. You know, they gonna keep going and keep going until they bump into them women. Them cutthroat women. They're being used. They don't know that their power is greater than the people that they're being used by. So they need to know they're asleep too. They're just as asleep as the niggas that was laying on their back after drinking the drinks. They sleep too. You gotta know that your own team that look like you, smell like you, talk like you, walk like you, they could be used against you as well. If they sleep, they sleep. Just like members of another team. They might not look like you, they might not talk like you, they might not walk like you, but it don't mean that they automatically the enemy. Let that sink in for who it's gonna sink in for. And his daughter came in like, it's time to join the fight, Dad. And he left. And he got this little, Genius had this little list he was walking around with, scratching the names off, because he like, all right, I got him on my team, bet. Let's bounce. I got homeboy, bet. Let's go get the rest of the team. When you get called to move on and go to that next part, you gotta know you ain't never alone. Even if you don't have your team together yet in the physical, you gotta know you is never alone. Your team, your spiritual team, is right there with you. Who you think gave you the idea? But now I'm breastfeeding, so she like, you gotta dip, dive, socialize, clean out your ears and open your eyes. That's when they got that first connection back together. When they ran into homeboy, they like, he represented somebody who lost it completely. They even did his hair all crazy. I love how they did that. But he was in there just swinging a sword and swinging that shit, and wasn't even nobody there. He just, you know, they like, oh, he completely lost it. He's representing those people that are really far, far, far gone, and they might seem like that you could never tap in and wake up, but they will when it's their time. They will, and they're gonna be a great help because they are God just like you, but God's fall by choice, and they get back up by choice. It got to be by choice. You can't force nobody to wake up. And when they do wake up and rise back into their power, they're going to be just as powerful as you. So don't sleep on it. They sleeping on themselves already. They don't need you to sleep on them too. Now, I mentioned you could look at the different groups that they broke up as religion. In the episode Manifesto, he said, like, they got blacks fighting against the whites, Asians fighting against the natives, or like, you could look at it as a race thing. However, whatever, just know this, whatever groups that they could break you down into and get you to fight each other, it don't matter what the fuck they call it, they gonna do it. So yeah, it don't matter if it's, you looking at it like it's religions, all of that shit is groups. All of those are groups that's broken apart, and I think they got all the answers while the other ones don't, and they lost. Positive education always corrects errors. Another reason why I love how they made his hair look all crazy and make him look weird and shit is because that's how it be in real life. Like, you can't judge somebody. I just made a tweet on this today. You can't, your appearance, your outer beauty and appearance is only 15% of your attraction and your manifesting. It's like, you got to tap into your inner magnetism and that inner power. Because when you attract just off surface level stuff, it don't last. We know how that go. You only attract surface level shit. So you need more than just your physical beauty or how you look or how you wear your hair. His hair was crazy as hell. He looked crazy. He talked crazy. You don't judge somebody just based off that outer shit. Like, he was really connected and divine within. You know what I'm saying? So I love how they did that. I love how he did that. And people that you think are crazy, dress crazy, talk crazy, oh, they're so weird. They're weird. That's weird is one of my favorite fucking words. The people that you think is so weird and closed off or whatever, they're probably 9 times out of 10 they're probably tapped the fuck in, and you don't get them because you're not on their level. They just look weird to you because all you care about is clothes and material shit and how you look, and if your hair looks shiny and healthy. Like, they're tapped in, and they're tapped so far in that they stop giving a fuck about this surface level shit. And I ain't saying everybody that look crazy is tapped in. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying it's a good chance that the people you think is weird is tapped the fuck in while you just somewhere walking around thinking about clothes and shoes and shit. Surface level as hell. He was talking about passing through the lands of savages because everybody on their own shit. That's what a savage really is. You on your own stuff, you don't care about nobody else. Now it is a level to where you got to be selfish, but not to the point of where it's killing off everybody else. Because what's the point? What's the point for you to have the whole world and nobody to share it with? I even think it was genius to have the homie in the wheelchair as one of the soldiers, because he had physical ailments, but that don't stop nothing to that inner magnetism and that divine connection. So you could basically break this episode down deep for like 2 hours or longer, and plus all the different things that I see, you could see something different. Perception is a beautiful thing because we perceive things based on our experiences and our acquired knowledge. There's so many different ways to perceive one thing, you know. So for me, the episode was profound, and they ended up getting that connection back together tight, back right, because they came together and they combined and used their powers all together, which made the energy even stronger for the enemy. And he just couldn't defeat it. He was no match for it. He couldn't fuck with it no more. And that's what we doing collectively in real life. So I had to touch on this episode. I'm not about to just have a channel where, I'm about to just start breaking down episodes. No, this episode spoke to me on levels, and I wanted to do it. Like, I couldn't wait. I was like, oh man. And now my baby is awake too. You just saw me breastfeeding him. So he needs my attention, but I had to break this episode down. Like, bruh, go watch the episode if you didn't. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you got from it. Tell me what you seen. Tell me what I missed. Yeah. We got to come together. If you feeling like you got a message you need to spread it. Say it. Don't worry about what somebody gonna think or call you weird. But nigga, if somebody call you weird.
So I want to talk about real quick the stuff that I missed in the video, because I'm editing right now and my camera just... First key point I missed was when Cyrus tried to use his brother, the fatherless child, against him when he was trapped. He like, look, your brother seemed to be enjoying himself, and he ended up saving him with his power, his energy, his word. And after that was over, he was like, thanks for saving me, bro. He like, no, thank you for being who you are, because that's how we save ourselves. Be who you are. It does not matter who think it's weird. Be who you are. My spiritual team must have had me mention that article about the phones taking over, because they just so happened in the episode to have them phones around their chain. And that could represent so many things of how we're tied to our phones and devices right now. But like I said, we could use them for good too. So I wanted to bring that point up. And thank you for watching and rocking with me this whole time. We did all we could do. The rest is up to you. Do everything you can. That's all you could do, and let people choose their own way. Remember that.
Nightmares like West Creighton. Was gunning. My third eye seen it coming before it happened.